means that he is... You can let go. So that means that he is an agile flyer, and he can actually duck and dive and weave through the smallest of spaces when he needs to. Typically these birds will inhabit like woodland, desert areas and also swamp areas. So in those areas that they will live in, they can actually... you have to duck there at the back, didn't you? So as you can from going by the areas that they live in, they will have to kind of move themselves quite quickly around those surrounding like obstacles. Now they are typically a South American species, so this one is actually the Mexican Harris hawk, and you actually have 3 different species of Harris hawk. So you've got the Mexican, the Chilean, and the Peruvian Harris hawk. Now you can see he's quite quick as well as he's flying on by. He can fly about 15 to 20 miles per hour when he gets going, so he can go quite fast. And of course he also does have very good eyesight as well. Have any of you guys heard of that saying, I'm a hawk? Yeah, it really is true. So it is said that a Harris hawk can see a rabbit's ear just twitching from up to 2 miles away, clear as day. So they are very good at hunting. Typically they will hunt jackrabbits, prairie dogs and gophers in the wild. For those Harris hawks that inhabit the deserts, they have a more reptile-based diet. And of course, if you have Harris hawks in captivity that you use for hunting, because a lot of people will take their Harris hawks hunting in the woodland and the countryside, then you're going to be catching things like rabbits, ducks, partridge and pheasants. If you have a female, because they're larger, they can actually catch a hare as well. Now we are going to show you how agile Harris hawks can be as well, but I am going to need the help of a volunteer if possible. Yeah, you in the middle? Yeah, you put your arm up first. So, do you want to come up here for me? And everyone give our volunteer a clap. You can hold on to him when he comes back. So we are going to show you how agile the hawk can be by making it fit through a small gap. We'll do it more interesting than that. If you want to face Chloe at the back. Yeah, take a few steps back for me. We want to make sure he builds up a bit of speed. Good. And what I want you to do is, if you could just stand there like that for me. So yeah, so we're just going to pretend you're a tree. Something that birds love, something that they fly through often. Yeah, so I think we'll give it a go, Chloe. If you want to let go of him, we'll let Archie fly on over. And he quite easily... Do you want to get that chicken butt? No? Okay. He quite easily made his way over the tree. But did anyone think that looks a bit too easy? Yeah, I think, let's make it harder. Okay, Arch, go back to Chloe. We're going to turn you from a tree to a ballerina, if that's alright. So this time, if you can stand there, we'll close that gap above your head. That's better. So we're going to try and get Archie to fit through here. This is something we've recently added to his routine. He gets this right about 70% of the time. If it does go wrong, I just need to warn you that there is usually an impact point around here, okay? But it comes close and he rarely misses. Right, so stay very still for me. Oh. Let's make him do that again. Let's send him back. As I say, he is still kind of perfecting this bit of the routine, so we will get there eventually. So yeah, bring your arms back a little bit more. Perfect. Alright, let's try again, Arch. You're going to go through the middle this time. Thank you. Thank you. So as you can see, they are well equipped for fitting through the smallest of spaces when they need to. So they are very good at kind of adapting to their surroundings. In fact, in more of recent years, they've made their way to the cities as well. So Las Vegas now has its own population of Harris hawks living there. So yeah, they're kind of an all-rounder, to be honest. They're also a species of bird that relies on signals where they live in groups. So you may notice that occasionally Archie will shake his tail feathers at us. And that is him signalling to us, to be honest, because he has that band around the bottom of his tail, and that is his signal aid. So occasionally he will shake his tail feathers, and it just lets us know that he's ready to do his next flight. It's something that they would do in the wild to let other birds know that they're ready to kind of take to the sky and join in with the hunt. And when these guys do their hunting, because they live in groups in the wild, they do split their group up into sections, so you've got males and females. So they've got lovely long legs for a bird of prey as well, so they can run along the floor to chase out their prey and tire it out. And the females will actually wait on in the sky and catch the food after the males have done the job of tiring it out. Okay, so has anyone got any questions about Archie before we send him home?
What do those tail tenders do? I notice when he flies, they're like spread out.
Yeah.
What is that actually doing when it's flying?
The tail is what steers the bird, to be honest. Similar to a boat, you know, the rudder of the boat steers the boat. Same with the tail on the bird. So the tail will actually move.
So he corners and stuff.
Yeah,
on the tail.
it's really interesting to see. When we're flying in our display field back at base, you know, we're in a much open space, and of course we've got the wind conditions and things, so you really do see them using that to manoeuvre themselves around. And of course he will fan out more as he comes in closer to the falconer, because that's him putting on his brakes as well. So you can see, remember how when we met Moon earlier, we see the troubles we have with her. She doesn't actually brake at the moment. So
if it's flying a distance, that tail would go in?
Yeah, and again, if they're dropping from a tree down, it usually would as well until they get a bit closer to the ground.
Thank you.
That's all right. Any more questions?
Yeah, what's the main difference between a falcon and a hawk?
Falcon and a hawk, the way they fly, and also you can see his wings are completely different to the kestrel, so they're not in that arrow shape like the kestrels was. So it's the way they hunt, the way they fly. So hawks will hunt by slamming their food into the ground. Falcons will hunt by using their speed and knocking birds out of the sky, basically. And also the way that they fly as well. Like falcons, if you ever come to like a falconry display, you'll see that when we fly a falcon, they stay airborne. They never land. We just swing that law pad around, they circle us, they'll go out behind the woodlands around the buildings that we have on site, and they will also fly into the sun to try and blind the falconer. And they'll just stay in the air and they'll keep gaining height and keep gaining speed to try and catch the law pad. Whereas the hawks like Archie, he will actually, you know, he lands on the fist, so he'll be stopping, he'll be landing in trees or on the perches we have around the arena. So they fly completely differently and they hunt completely differently as well.
What distance can their eyes focus? You know what I mean?
He can, instead of Harris hawk can see a rabbit's ear twitching from 2 miles away.
2 miles?
Yeah, clear as day.
So he can see its prey?
Yeah, they're very good at hunting. They, you know, we've been out walking with our hawks and they've been, like we do hawk walks with these guys, they follow us. So we'll walk under the tree line and they'll follow us on. So it's kind of like walking a dog, but a bit better, to be honest. So they'll follow us on and, you know, they'll spot something before we have and they'll be shooting off after it, because of course they're birds of prey anyway. It's a natural instinct, so they will catch things. If we're out just walking through the woods and they spot something, they will chase after it.
And kill it?
Well, they try to. They're not very successful. We've got, out of the 5 we have, we've got 2 that enjoy hunting. We don't actively hunt them because we're more about the education side and display side of falconry. But as I said, it's a natural instinct that they have that you'll never knock out of them. They're birds of prey and they're designed to do that. So, you know, occasionally in the woodland that we have on site, we have a stream that flows through it, and quite often we have ducks that ride through the stream. And occasionally, when we're out flying the hawks, you will hear the hawks' bells go into the distance towards the stream, and then you start to hear the ducks screaming. But we've only had one occasion where they caught a duck, and that was the male that is all about hunting. That's all he thinks about this time of year. He picked the worst time to do it, to be honest. We had a hen party booked in for a hawk walk by the groom. So we're doing the hawk walk, and that particular Harris hawk caught a duck. And all the hen party was squeamish about the chicken we were feeding them. So you can imagine what they thought when they see the duck. Because unfortunately the duck didn't survive that time. So. But yeah, it is, yeah.
So the red kites that we see more and more frequently now, are they hawks or falcons?
They're kites. They're just kites, yeah.